Good day, welcome to Diversity Magazine show on current affairs. I'm your host, Sonal Fool. Today we have Minister Gulbish with us. Nate, as I know him personally, so I will call him Nate. He is a very passionate person personally. He's a father, politician, and he started his political career, dedicated his professional life to facilitating investment in Alberta technology companies. He began his career with Foundation Equity, an investment firm, where over 8 years he rose to the partner and participated in the negotiation and success of several multi-million-dollar technology business investment. Since day one as a minister, he has worked hard to addressing long-standing issues for Albertans. He brought the which include the Condominium Act also, and then the government has spent historic 390 million funding commitment for new high-speed internet infrastructure in rural, remote, and indigenous community across Canada. Sorry, Alberta, my apologies. And the investment has now unlocked a total of 780 million in public sector funding to help eliminate the digital divide. Today, Minister also has announced Bill 19, which will lead to the Condominium Property Amendment Act, help the owners. So welcome, Nate.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Sunny. It's a pleasure to be back and looking forward to our chat today.
Nate, before we go further, is the Condominium Property Act, which Bill 19 has passed today, and is an amendment. Could you tell us more about it?
Yeah, sure. So today I introduced an amendment to the Condo Property Act in the legislature for first reading. So that sort of kickstarts the debate process. And this touches on a couple of things that we've heard a lot about from condo owners and board volunteers who serve on condo boards that will help to make life easier for condo owners. And so I just thought maybe I could give you a quick overview of the two kind of highlights from the bill. The first one is relatively simple, but for any of your listeners who live in a condo who may have ever attended an annual general meeting of the owners, they can probably relate to the fact that those meetings usually go really long. They're really slow to get through. And every time you have to vote on something, even if it's as simple as just passing an agenda or approving minutes from a previous meeting, you have to go through a really complicated process to calculate the votes based on what's called a unit factor. So everybody who owns a condo has a certain unit factor, which is sort of your pro rata piece of the total condo property. And it's an important principle, right? Like if you're making a vote on something really complicated, like incurring a significant financial expense, you want to make sure that people are voting based on their unit factors. But if you're just trying to say, like, do we have a consensus in the room about whether or not what's on the agenda is approved? You shouldn't need to go through something that complicated. So really what we're doing is we're just giving a tool, an option for condo owners to use in their annual general meetings to just quickly and simply assess the consensus in the room in those sort of simple scenarios like passing an agenda or passing some minutes. The second piece that we're touching on is to deal with the topic of chargebacks. And I like to introduce this just by talking a bit about my personal experience from when I lived in a condo. My wife and I, we lived in a condo for 6 years in Sherwood Park. And for 2 of those years, I sat on my condo board as a volunteer to just try and help contribute to the community that we lived in. And we lived in an apartment style condo with 158 units, and we had an underground parking lot. And without fail, every 2 months, it seemed, somebody from our building would hit that hit the door to our underground parkade. And we'd need to bring in a repair crew. We'd have to replace the door. It was usually between $2,000 and $3,000 of damage every single time. And it just kept happening and happening and happening. And it was just carelessness on the part of a small number of condo owners in that building. And unfortunately, the condo board, who essentially is there to represent the interests of all of the owners, they didn't have the legal tools they needed in order to hold those individuals accountable for the damages that they caused. Even though we had video footage and we know exactly who it was, we had all of the evidence to say, we know that you did this. We didn't have a legal tool to require them to reimburse the condo corporation for those costs. And what that means is instead, every single owner that lives in that building had to pay for those costs through increases in their condo fees.
You brought
And
a very good topic. Sorry, Nate, to interrupt, because you brought the chargebacks, right? When we talk about the chargeback, we also have to see what the condominium corporation, the management and the board has to work together and what due diligence they have to do. It's not my way, like I cannot just create an invoice, you know,
exactly.
and then charge, right? It has to have some due diligence, but on the same token, the work need to be completed too. I'm going to give you a scenario because it is a real scenario, and I have been made aware of it. So it's a water leak from the top apartment and went to the two bottom apartments. The bill goes back to the chargeback bill invoice, or the incident goes back to January 2021. Invoice was created, sent to the owner, and owner has forwarded to the insurance company. It's after a year and a half, work has not been done. First on site cannot confirm the work has been confirmed. All the two owners are saying work has not been done. They're sending the pictures to both the board and management. Insurance companies is basically, I'm going to read the email. Based on the current documentation that we have not seen any evidence of the work being completed or any document showing that work has been done. And the $40,000, so more than $40,000 has been paid to the contractor for the work which has not been done. So insurance company is saying no, chargeback, all those things. So how, when this condominium act comes, how is going to protect the owners?
Yeah, so
this kind of scenarios.
So in that scenario, I think what I have to say is it's a little bit separate from what this legislation that I brought forward today is designed to address. It sounds like this is an unfortunate situation, of course, not knowing all of the details. So I can't speak about the specific situation, but from what it sounds like is that there's been a breakdown between the contractor and the owner who was needing work to be done. And what I would suggest is if the individual who's experienced the situation, if they wanted to reach out to my office, the Ministry of Service Alberta, we could gather a little bit more of the background, and we could do a little bit of homework to see, hey, what tools are there in the legislation and regulatory framework to support them in trying to get a resolution to this issue. So whether it might be a consumer protection issue, where perhaps the Consumer Investigations Unit could look into to the contract and the work that was supposed to be done. But I don't have answers right now, but would be happy to work with you and with your listeners to try and get an answer there. But Sunny, just to sort of wrap up what I was getting to about what the legislation does do, because I had sort of highlighted the problem of, if you don't have the ability to recover costs from someone who causes damage to the condo property, who lives there and is an owner there, what the legislative amendments that we brought forward today would do is give condo boards a tool to allow for them to issue a chargeback to a responsible party, so that they would be able to then collect the costs that were incurred to remedy that mistake, or that damage. And so we'll make sure that there's a very clear framework on exactly how that works and under what circumstances a chargeback can be issued, and ensuring that there's an appropriate appeal process so that folks can be sure that they have a due process. But the key thing here is just, the general principle is, if somebody has clearly and evidently caused damage to the condo property, they should be held responsible for the cost to remedy that damage. And the cost should not be borne by all of the responsible owners who have not caused any damage. And so that's the problem we're trying to fix. We'll make sure that we flesh that out with some supporting regulations that have a very clear and fair and transparent process on how the chargebacks would be issued, and how appeals could be made if someone disagrees with the assessment.
So
the key thing is just to introduce fairness into the process.
So when we talk about, Nate, when we talk about the fairness, I hope, because I have not read the bill yet, its fairness is for all three parties: the management company, the condo board, as well as the as the owner. So all three need to be protected in the scenario which I said. So that what I'm trying to say, the fairness when we talk about is not just having the power without an obligation or the duties. You know, you have a right, but you have an obligation too. So when we talk about this act, it includes everything. And then my next question, when we are talking about this, we always talk about the board and the management, all the rights and the powers they have, but we never talked about the power or the knowledge or the need of the owners, because you know it's both things. So when this bill comes, how is going to help the owners also?
So the way this will help the owners is, number one, on the voting side of things, on the changes to the voting, that's going to simplify the process for holding an annual general meeting. It will make it a shorter meeting, a more productive meeting, and it will save everybody time, which is quite a nice thing to do, right? You know, it's never fun to sit there waiting for an unproductive meeting. And this will help to make those meetings more efficient, more productive. But more importantly, on the chargeback side, the whole point here is to say, instead of owners who are responsible owners who have never caused damage to the property, instead of them having to pay increased condo fees all the time to pay for the damages caused by other irresponsible owners, we will actually save them money by making sure that the irresponsible owners who evidently did cause damage can be held accountable to pay for the damage that they've caused. So that's ultimately what this is about. It's about saving responsible condo owners money by keeping their condo fees low and avoiding unnecessary increased costs to deal with the actions of the irresponsible few. So that's what you can expect from this amendment to the Condo Property Act.
My last question, Nate, and it's very important, because we always talk about the announcements and then we always tell it's related to technology and information communication. When we talk about this information, you go to the website or you go to this government website. As a normal, you know, field person or a ground person or layman person or a, masses, we get lost. Like, going to the website and then going from link to link and link, where to find the exact information. As a technology person yourself, is there any way or any idea or any feedback or links you could provide so the person, if it's looking for something, can go directly there? Or is any number where they can call or find the right information which is needed?
Yeah, well, my hope is that our website's getting better and better all of the time. Our team at Service Alberta is working with the media folks in our government who are responsible for that website, and we're trying to make it easier to find things and a little bit more intuitive. But I understand that sometimes that's not always the case. But I would generally say, if you're looking for any information about something related to provincial government policy or any matter related to the province, if you were to go to alberta.ca and start there and see if you're able to find what you're looking for. And if you can't, then I would suggest reaching out to the General Government of Alberta call center line. And I don't have that number memorized, but I know that number would be on the alberta.ca website. And we'll make sure that there is someone who can help you to find what you're looking for.
Thank you, Nate. I really appreciate. Before we leave, I really appreciate on behalf of the Diversity Magazine for taking your time and coming and giving us the information to our viewers. Would like to give any last message before we conclude?
I just want to say thanks again for having me. It's always nice to come here and talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm working on in Service Alberta and to give a little bit more background for your viewers. I hope that this was helpful and very much looking forward to coming back again soon.
Thank you, Nate. You are watching Current Affairs on Diversity Magazine. I'm your host, Sonal Phul. Till we meet again on behalf of all viewers and the magazine. Thank you, Nate. Really appreciate it. Stay safe.
Thanks so much for having me.
I have a question related to Bill 15. The education is most important for the students or for our future generation. Which also include the teachers and the principal and the school board too. When you are in Bill 15, you're talking about the discipline. discipline is like enforcement and implementation and sustaining. But then we can't have one story, right? Like every story has two sides of the coin. So if you're listening to the parents, we have to listen to the teachers also because they are the main part of it. So how that will basically engage both parties in a discipline process as well as the appeal process.
Right. And so thank you for that great question. So right now we have a dual system. So the teachers that are under the Alberta Teachers Association, they go through a process that is different than all the other teachers that are in charter schools, independent schools, ECSs, First Nations schools. They go through the registrar. And so what we're proposing under Bill 15 is one system, one common system with one code of conduct for all teachers and teacher leaders. So in teacher leaders are principals, superintendents. So one way to deal with teacher discipline, which is unprofessional conduct and teacher incompetence for everyone. And what I have seen and heard is that they would like it to be unbiased, that it will be arm's length approach. So what we're proposing through Bill 15 is the commissioner and the office of the commissioner, and they would take in after the registrar would get the complaints from whoever, and they can come from a teacher, from a student, it can come from an administrator, it can come from a parent. So again, it's one process for everyone, much more simplified. The complaint goes to the registrar, they pass it on to the commissioner once they confirm that the complaint is about an actual teacher or teacher leader with a certificate. And then the commissioner, who is arm's length, it does not have any interest in education. Like right now with the Alberta Teachers Association, they are a union. So they both represent the interests of the teacher at the bargaining table as well as at the disciplinary table. So we're taking that away. We're an outlier in Canada, which means we're the only province left where the union still is involved in teacher discipline. So that's going to change. And then the commissioner, when they get the complaint, then they can do a number of things. They can dismiss it after they look into it. They can dismiss it. They can send it on for an investigation and further investigation or to a hearing. They can actually try and maybe get even a consent resolution. There's many things they can do. And so it's much better for the parent, for the student, as well as for the teachers and the teacher leaders and for public assurance as a whole.
Thank you, ma'am. Really appreciate it. Good evening. I'm Sonal. I have Jonathan with him, Sean, Amol, Matthew,
Riley here.
Riley. We are all here. We are doing a food drive for Edmonton Food Bank and the cash donation for Veteran Food Bank. We are at the Save On Food at the Calgary Trail. We are here till 5 o'clock in the morning. We started in the morning from 10 o'clock. All the cash donation which we have collected, it will be going to Veteran Food Bank, from where they will not be only helping the veteran people, they will be also helping our first responder, anyone who needs a help. And all the food collected will be going towards the people in need in Edmonton. And you know, no work can be done without the volunteer work, volunteers. We have Amol with us, Jonathan. These guys have been fantastic. They're a student of University of Alberta students, but they have given time. They come every Sunday morning for the food distribution. I will let Sean talk a little bit more about the veteran, and I will give Amol and Jonathan, they will talk about how they are involved in the program. Thank you, Sean.
Good evening. Hi, as Sunny said, I'm representing the food bank, the Veterans Food Bank. What we're doing is we're taking donations. All donations go 100% to the veterans. We offer a number of services besides the food bank, including evac, emergency assistance. We also do peer counseling, one-on-one support, and group support. We also work with Veterans Affairs. We have a number of programs that we help veterans with, and we work in conjunction with a number of things like the university here and the City of Edmonton Food Bank. So I'm not sure what else.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you, Sean. So I will give it to Amol. Amol, could you tell us why you volunteer and how University of Students are involved?
Yeah, I volunteer because I'm with the community. Our Clarity Wash, that's our brand. We always support local businesses and obviously the organization here. I'm in university as well. I believe everybody else here as well. So I like volunteering so it helps people in need, and I have extra stuff at home which I can bring here, give to people that are in need. So that's for me.
Thank you, Amol. Jonathan.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Ney. I'm with the Delta Kappa Epsilon fraternity. Sonny just came to us one morning asking if he could use our back lot. I didn't think it would be this big, but the community outreach has been amazing. We're really thankful for the opportunity
Thank you, sir.
to work with the Veterans Food Association and Infinity Safety Awareness. And we'd like to thank the whole community for their tremendous support, and the amount of donations that's been made today is going to help a lot of people.
Thank you. So you can see we have collected, thank you for the community support. You can see what we have collected. There are 2, 4, 6 boxes, 7 boxes have been filled. Thank you, everyone. All this food which you see is here is a baby food, from diapers to formulas, ketchup, canned food, pasta, sauce, water, chocolates. Also collect the clothing also for the people in need. Our phone number, website is all posted. If you have any question, please feel free to contact us, and we will be there. One of us will be a volunteer, me. Anyone will be there to collect your donation. And if you need help, please let us know, and we will be there to support you too. We have collected cash donation also. We have not counted yet, but we think it's approximately 1,000 or more than 1,000, which will be going to the Veteran Affairs Food Bank. From there, it will be going to, from that end, it will be going to or helping veterans, first responders, however they need it. When we support them or provide the services, we do not ask questions. We don't check anything. It's just first come, first basis, and we provide the services as needed to the people or to the community. And as I said, as Sean mentioned too, we provide all safety training too to the new companies who need a help. They're starting their new business, and we support them. If you need a PP which you cannot support, you cannot buy, you are a new immigrant, you are a refugee, you need a help, we will be there to help you. You just have to pick up a phone, contact us, and we will be there.